In today's video, we are doing a deep dive review of this bad boy that has just released from Patrick Ta. This is the Major Skin Hydrolux Luminous Skin Perfecting Foundation. Now, I think that this launch in particular is very interesting, which is why I am doing a standalone review. I do a lot of reviews on my channel, obviously, but not a lot of standalone reviews anymore. So I think that that should say a lot about this foundation. I find it in particular to be very unique, interesting. I think it has its quirks, and that's why I thought I would do a standalone review for you all. Now, I've been testing this one out since Wednesday, so it's Wednesday, Tuesday. Why did I just Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? The fourth time that I've been wearing it today, so I've been testing it out for 3 days. And I gotta tell you, I was planning on doing like a little first impressions kind of video with you all, but the jury was so out by the end of that day that I knew I needed more time to test this one out. I personally was really excited about this launch from Patrick Ta because I liked the cream foundation, but it wasn't one that ended up becoming something that I wanted to reach for a lot. I did find that it was missing a little bit of the it factor that I look for in my foundations. What I look for in like kind of a go-to standby foundation is a beautiful blur and kind of a skin softening quality in a sense that when you put it on your skin, it truly makes the quality of your skin look better. So obviously that comes from one, coverage and having like a very even base, but it also comes from the actual texture and look on the skin. So if there's a beautiful blur, if there's kind of like this creaminess on the skin, I personally really like that. Comes in 30 different shades, and I believe it retails for, it's a little expensive. Yeah, $58. This is not cheap by any means. Honestly, in my brain, I had remembered this being $48. You know, I'm not on the back end. I'm not sure how much the formulation itself costs. It is a unique one, so it does have me curious, but 58 bucks is a lot. Granted, the packaging is very heavy. Also granted that with all of Patrick Ta's packaging, I feel like you always need like a microfiber towel wherever you are with it because it gets very smudgy very fast. Not my favorite kind of packaging, honestly, but I know that someone has to like it because brands keep making it, right? So yeah, it comes in 30 shades. My shade is 5 Golden Neutral, or at least that's the shade that I bought. Here's the thing with this Golden Neutral. I think that it's more of like a true neutral. I am very pleased with the shade. I think it's a good shade for me. Caveat being that my neck is more yellow than my actual face. My face is neutral, but my neck is more yellow, so I tend to go for something slightly closer to my neck just because I want there to kind of be a synergy to my body and my face. And that's something that I'm going to be talking more about in an upcoming video about foundation and all the common issues we have with it. But I will say this is like neutral with a touch, very slight touch of peach. I think that it is a good shade. Like, I do enjoy it. I have been following all of the social posting that Patrick Ta and his team have been doing following the launch. And personally for me, I have found that pretty helpful, especially going into this review, because this is not, I think, your typical run-of-the-mill foundation. And I actually really applaud Patrick Ta and his team for the education that they've been doing, because it is setting everyone up for proper expectations, I think. I personally think the education piece is kind of key, especially with a foundation formula like this. So they say the foundation is lightweight and luminous, and it has a serum-inspired formulation. So the ingredients are skincare inspired with a buildable medium coverage that boosts hydration and blurs imperfection. They mentioned that you need to shake it well, and they say that it is best for dry, combo, and normal skin. It is so refreshing to see brands say specifically that this is a foundation that is going to be best suited for someone with, again, combo to dry skin. There are so many brands that just say it's great for everyone. We all know, hopefully, by now that that is so often not true. So for me personally, I have really enjoyed that. I find it so refreshing when brands are a little more transparent about who this is going to look good on. And I believe Kelly Gooch had also mentioned this in her video that she said, in so many words when she went to the event, that they had said, this is pretty much going to be best for dry skin. And I also thought that that was such good context, and that has kind of lined up with the information that I've seen on the foundation through Patrick Ta's TikTok and Instagram. So, just to give you guys some context, if you're new here, I do have more dry skin. In the summer, it leans more normal, but in the winter, it leans a little bit more dry. However, my lips are like the driest of dry all year round. That's just kind of like a random tidbit I wanted to include in this video because I was looking at the footage of me applying this foundation in natural light. We'll get into that in a second. And I was just like, damn, Amanda, your lips look so dry. So the foundation is definitely serum-like. It is on the thinner side. I would say that if you are used to creamier, heftier liquid foundations, this is probably going to be a little bit thinner. What I found pretty interesting about the foundation is that it almost feels like some of these emulsion products that we've seen in recent skincare launches. The texture actually is pretty reminiscent of like Glossier Future Dew. The fact that this is serum inspired, and I think that not only lines up in the texture, but it also lines up in the ingredients. And by the way, if you're familiar with Glossier Future Dew, I will say right off the bat that if that is a product that you have really gotten along with, then I'm just gonna kind of give you a spoiler. I think that you will really enjoy this. Personally, it really does remind me quite a bit of it, even though Glossier Future Dew is a serum and this is a foundation. Let's talk about the ingredients because I think that the ingredients do really shine in the formula. So shades 1 through 20, the first ingredients are water, glycerin, isononyl, isononate, propanediol, dicaprylyl ether. Actually, I'll be honest, I'm not positive about that ingredient. I'll have to do more research on it. But then there's also squalane. So the ingredients for shades 21 through 30 aren't too different. Essentially, like the main difference between the two is the squalane. The squalane is higher on the ingredients list with the shades 1 through 20. The latter formulas might have needed to adjust a little bit just to make sure that the pigments were reading true, but that's just my speculation of why they might have done that.
Good morning from Editing Amanda. Editing in bed. Okay. I realized that in my video, I didn't, like I talked about the ingredients, I didn't get into any of what that would actually mean to you guys. The fact that the first two ingredients are water and glycerin kind of blows my mind. It really is a good encapsulation of what we should be expecting from this formula. So if you have any serums that you are currently using, go check them out. Go look at the ingredients. Give them a feel in your hand because this texture is so close to a lot of the skincare products that we already have. They have that skincare glycerin kind of slip. There's also propanediol in here, and propanediol is very, very common in a lot of hydrating serums. The squalane has a little bit more slip. It is an oil. And I think that it was a good idea for me to go back and check up on the dicaprylyl ether because I was like, where do I know that from? It is often used in some like lip balmy products. So it's kind of like a colorless oil kind of product. So it's gonna give a product some slip and some shine. I think that that definitely translates into the formula itself. So those are like some of the main things that I'm seeing. They also do mention like, that there's kombucha and that this is going to actually help your skin long term. There's no way that I could actually make, I couldn't actually comment on that for you guys yet. So that's what I meant by that.
So should we talk about just like what I think about the formula? Like I mentioned, the formula itself is quite liquidy, definitely has that kind of Glossier Future Dew vibe to it. There's this kind of liquidy serum really nourishing feel when it is applied onto the skin that I personally find very comforting, especially if my skin is more dry. And Patrick Ta has mentioned in previous videos that he's like, you don't really need a lot of skincare or prep for this product, which really goes against, and he even recognizes that in these videos he's talking about. He's like, really goes against what a lot of makeup artists and makeup obsessed people would say. I mean, I just did an entire video about skin prep. Like skin prep is so huge in how your foundation will apply and work. But what I think he's really trying to get at here is that this is an incredibly dewy, glowy, luminous product, and you don't need a lot of skin prep to get you to that really, really glowy place. And in fact, if you have more combination skin, going in and looking for a lot of moisture with your skincare routine might not actually be what makes this product really shine for you. On me, I think that it looks really, really beautiful. And I personally love makeup products that know what they are and aren't trying to do everything for everyone. When we do that, we kind of end up being nothing to no one. Like if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing at all. I kind of feel that way about makeup and foundations. There are just so little products that are meant for a large amount of people. If you have normal to dry skin and you really enjoy a very glowy base with more of a light to medium coverage, I mean, I'm just gonna say, like, I think that you will really like this. But let's get into the up close demo of this product because I think that there's a specific way that I have gotten the best results with it. So, you guys know I am such a huge sponge person. Sponges are my preferred way of applying most of my makeup. A dry sponge I absolutely love, and even a damp sponge. However, I don't like the way that this product applies with a sponge. It absorbs way too much of it. And think about it, you wouldn't use your beauty sponge to apply your skincare necessarily. I have had so much luck though using a brush with this foundation. So I've been applying it with this dual-ended hourglass brush because I've also been testing this Tower 28 powder. It's just kind of convenient to have a little setting brush on the other end. A brush is absolutely the way to go, and I didn't think much of this product honestly when I was using a sponge. The sponge kind of takes away both the coverage and the blur of this product, which to me ends up being what makes this quite unique, is that you're able to get the glow, the blur, and the coverage. But without the blur and the coverage, this ends up just kind of being a glowy, sheer tinted moisturizer. And you know how many of those products are already on the market? There's a lot. So I think this really does need the blur and it needs the coverage. This is what my skin looks like with two pumps. It applies really, really easily with a brush. And for how glowy it is surprisingly lightweight, which I was very surprised at. Like as I've continued to test this product, I've been very surprised that I'm getting this kind of finish and this coverage with more of this kind of lightweight texture. Now, this isn't a product that completely sets down matte and you're not going to feel it on your face at all. Definitely not one of those products, but it does just kind of feel like a sunscreen on the face, which by the way, to prep my skin today, all I did was I used my Caudalie Vino serum. I've been using that during the day, and then I layered on my sunscreen. So that's it. Again, I've been keeping it really simple as far as skin prep. What I've also found interesting about the foundation is I really was expecting it to keep getting glowier on me, and it really kind of like the finish does not falter much for me. Now, I do think that it gets a little bit less dewy like 15 minutes after you've applied it. It kind of eventually does set down a touch, but I don't find myself worrying about this moving around or remaining really thick on the skin like some other more glowy foundations can be. So I think Patrick Ta is definitely onto something with this one. I think that the texture itself, that kind of emulsions, serum, skincare feel on the skin. A lot of people that are saying like this is like the epitome of like a clean girl skin vibe. It is not going to be that for everyone. And I think that Patrick Ta has been like, I do appreciate that it's been so straightforward as far as who this is going to work best for. But just because of the kind of product that it is, I would say that this is a foundation that I would reach for if I knew my skin was feeling dry, if I know my skin needs that extra TLC, and I really just want it to look fresh. If you want that kind of fresh faced look with your foundation, you want a blur, you want something between a light and medium coverage, because honestly, like, you can still see some of my spots just barely peeking through. I don't think that this is like a true medium coverage, if I'm being honest. I think it's something between a light and a medium. There are some foundations that I think, for me, I would probably lean more towards for an event. This feels more to me personally like an everyday foundation rather than an event foundation. And again, it is partially because I think this kind of skin look is good for every day and not necessarily great for like photos. I think that if you have tried this foundation and you haven't been super impressed with it, again, I would really highly suggest trying it with a brush, because there are, I think, not a lot of foundations on the market and ones that I've tested in a long time that I've had such a significant difference between how it's applied with a brush and how it's applied with a sponge. And I don't know if it's just my sponges that I'm using, but like, it kind of night and day. Like, love the way it looks with a brush, and then with a sponge I was like, where is the coverage, where's the blur? This foundation, when you tap in powders, you don't need to set the entire face to like apply product on top, but I never do. I'm just careful with the powders that I select, so I like to use powders that aren't too highly pigmented. And the way that the Tower 28 powder has been wearing on top has been really nice. Now, I didn't put it on today just so you guys could get like the true finish of the product, but I have really liked adding like powder bronzer at least on top, just to the perimeters of the face, just for like a little bit, just a touch of a mattifying look, just to make the glow like a little bit more strategic. But overall, I think that this is a really nice foundation. I think if you have normal to dry skin and you lean more neutral in particular, I think that there's a possibility that you'll be really excited by this one. I can't wait to go swatch some other shades because I'm really interested in seeing what they look like in person. Again, I've only swatched this shade thus far, but I have a good feeling about the shade selection. But overall, I hope that you guys really enjoyed the video. I hope you liked kind of like an old-fashioned, detail-oriented review from me. You guys know this is like my bread and butter on my channel. I love reviewing products. I love giving you guys the nitty-gritty, the up-close and personal look. So if you guys enjoyed it and you found it valuable, definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new and you enjoyed it. But with all of that, just thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in my next one.